All right, good morning. Welcome to New York session. I hope you're doing well. I apologize for the lateness. I was actually caught up in traffic whilst trying to get some food stuff for my house for today. I have a friend of mine visiting me, and I went to get some groceries and I got caught in traffic, so I apologize. We are looking at the dollar index right now, and you can see we are rejecting from that same level that I highlighted yesterday. So let's see if they can break that up candle over here. As it stands now with the current candle, it is likely that it's rejecting. Okay, it's likely that it's rejecting. However, we need it to close. So if you can see, they've currently gone above the imbalance that was created in London, which is the 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. period, and we are almost above this up candle. Once we close this candle, that should create a rejection, and that is likely going to be, in my opinion, a low of the week so far, and we might trade to this candle's low and then potentially into the gap that was created over the course of Sunday opening. Right, so the current candle trading, once it's done, we will be looking for this candle's high, this level here, and then the volume imbalance that resides over there. Okay, and when that happens, that will be the opposite for euro. So on euro, we're expecting this candle's low to be taken. They're gonna trade back into this London session gap, and then this volume imbalance. That will be for between today and tomorrow. Okay, so from here we'll be trading here, right? So you're gonna be looking for a continuation to the downside once the current candle closes. You basically look for maybe a pullback, and then you sell short to continue going down. Pound would be the opposite, so we'll be looking for, I think there's some clean equal lows over here where price is likely going to run those lows, and I'm talking about these lows here. Okay, price is likely gonna take those out and probably balance this level. Okay, so let's wait and see if that will be the case. I think the New Zealand is already dropping. They might come back to attack this low here, so look out for a potential continuation to the downside. They've gone beyond this down candle here, which was formed in kind of New York overlap. Okay, so I think these lows are gonna be taken. They might even come and take out all these lows over here. I think yesterday, you remember, we talked about price reaching this candle's low, and then you can see they did touch it beautifully and then started rejecting. I didn't trade it yesterday. I wish I did, but I didn't. So look for a continuation to the downside on the New Zealand dollar, and you can use this gap here for an entry if it pulls back there. Okay, I think all these lows, this low here, this low, landing low, and then this low might be taken. Also maybe a pause in here, so watch this level and price might pause there and then give the pullback, and then with that pullback you look for the continuation to the downside. Australian dollar, that one also traded nicely to that candle's low perfectly and then rejected. Now why this level? And I think I've spoke about it a little bit. I said that when you understand that we are dealing with an algorithm, you need to understand how some of the logics that it might use. Okay, so thinking outside the box. Why do we say time is important? Because time of the day will tell what price is gonna do, not the other way around. It's not price gonna tell time, but time of the day will tell what price is gonna do. So this level here was created during the London session, and since that time you have a lot of traders online, the algorithm will remember that time, whatever happened during that time. So this candle's low is not just a run. This one could be a random low because that's Asia, or even that's when the market closed, so it's irrelevant. But this one is relevant because it happened during the time that lots of traders were online, so it will be remembered. That's why price can come to it to the pip like this and then reject, as you can see. Okay, so you can look for a continuation to the downside to attack this low. I think they will take out Friday's low, but still respecting that range because we are in a I believe in a complex pullback situation. All right, so we are likely gonna take out this low, but it will not take out that one. It will be in that range for now. Apart from that, I'm looking at dollar yen. All right, I'm anticipating the low of the week to form because we opened and then price went down first. Now we all understand that if price opens and it goes down first, then it's likely gonna form a low. So I'm not looking for a sell on it, but rather looking for a reversal to take place, which I've highlighted the fair value gap on the daily. Now exactly where we are, which is, so we had two levels. The first one was the New York session, which we traded there yesterday and then gave us all these minor blips. Then today the London session, which is this one here. So I'm kind of anticipating a break of structure. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, no problem. But since we've dropped down first, that is why I'm looking for the rejection. Okay, had we gone up first, then I'll look for a sell, but we went down first. Okay, so that's the dollar yen. let's go on to gold. Okay, so gold, as I mentioned, I'm looking for a move back up in here, which is to attack the previous week high. But we need to get to this high first. That candle's high. This one. We need to get there first. And then we might trade into that. That small little gap over there, we might trade into it. Let me zoom in. Okay, so that is where I think price is going. Once we breach that, it will tap into this. That is where if we trade through it, then they're gonna go for this high, and then we continue. If we reject, then maybe it might form a high and then reject. Now, something that I really want to discuss is the idea of forecasting. Okay, there are certain things that before the week starts you might have an idea, but when the week is trading, you need to go with whatever price gives you based on what is happening. So we might have an idea, or I might have an idea that I'm going up, okay, but if price gives me something else, it's not that I'm changing my mind, but I'm moving with the flow. I'm moving with the flow of the market. Okay, so what I'm saying is I'm expecting price to go up, but if it gets up here or even there and then it gives me a different signal, I'm not gonna stick I'm not gonna stick with the continuation to the upside, because price is dynamic. Okay, so the move to the upside might not be fulfilled, and then they might reject and go lower. So I'm very dynamic. I don't go with hardcore, it's going up, so I have to go up with it all the time. No, when it's trading, when the market is moving, it can give you signals as to what it wants to do. Okay, and then you flow with it. Don't be rigid. Because when you become rigid with price, sometimes you have an idea, and sticking to your idea might end up giving you a problem, because price might be doing something different and you will be resisting. Okay, so like I'm saying, if we get up here, we might trade up there, but if we get the rejection, I'm gonna sell short. Okay, crude oil, so we did trade to this level, and like I said, I'll be looking for a move down. Yesterday we talked about this. I think this was when we were having a session, and I said they're going to trade back to that level. Now, why did I say that? It's because the time that price traded there, this was not a good time. That was the Asian session, early Monday hours Asian session. Okay, so price needs to come there during a particular session, either London or New York, and then they did that yesterday. So at 2, when we discussed it, at 2, let me drop down to the M15 right here. When this candle or even this gap was created, that was your ticket to trade up in there. Okay, that was your ticket to trade up into that level. and then as soon as we got there, boom, price rejected. That rejection breaking this low, that rejection breaking that low right there, that was your sign that price has reacted to that level. Okay, that was your sign that price has reacted to that level. So what is going to happen next is likely going to be a continuation to the downside. Okay, so maybe today during the New York session, I'll look for something similar to this, which is a run above a high rejection, or a red candle bearish order block forming during that time, and then I'll sell short to take out this low, and then potentially that low. Okay, so let's see if we can get an order block forming during the session, and then we will look for a move to the downside. Okay, yes, I think let's go back to the H4. I gave a level that if we lose it, then we will be going lower, and that level was here. Price couldn't break it. We actually rejected and then traded back above Friday's high. So with that changes the whole narrative, because that has closed above Friday. What can happen is today we completely reject Monday's high, and then that will be the high of the week, probably the high of the month. I like the energy that it used to trade up. When I say energy, these 3 consecutive up candles, leaving this last down candle here, that is a perfect order block on the daily. Because on the daily, if we are to do something, on the H4, if we are to do something like this on the daily, that would be the last up candle prior to the move down. Okay, and then that would give you a nice bearish order block on the daily, and we would have a weekly high being taken, and then a H4 break of structure. And to me, that might be it for the high of the month, or even the high of the quarter. The only problem is it didn't touch this, which is what I would have wanted. So we might probably, this New York session, run up just a little bit to take that high, and then immediately reject, and then start heading to break this low. Okay, so watch the 6002 level, 6002.7. Okay, so the level is actually 6,000. Okay, so watch the 6,000 level, because that might be the level that they might take and then go down. It doesn't have to, but they might take that before going down. Now, if we don't reject this gap, then I don't know, the equities are going to scream higher for the rest of the year. If we don't reject this gap here and move lower, then the indices are gonna scream higher. Okay, which I don't think that might be the case, simply because if you look at the ES, Nasdaq, and the Dow, there was a divergence between the three before the drop happened. All right, so let me show it to you. That shows that this was a professional selling going on. So we have high, 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 NQ. This one had a low, high, and then the last one, which is let me see. I always forget the the symbol for the Dow. Let me see if I can find it. YM. The YM. You can also see that did a high. Okay, so due to that, there was a professional selling taking place. So there's a high probability that all that is happening now is a pullback. Hence, this is a pullback and we are likely going to reject. We've come extremely high. If we pull the fib, we are currently at almost 88.8 level, and it's overdue for a rejection. If you look at the RSI, if you look at the RSI, you can see we are at the peak, right? And there's also a divergence on that. Look at where this high is, or even the highest high. This high here corresponds to that, and we are way above it. So there is going to be a drop either above this high or where we are, or it can go just a little bit higher more, and right here you get a rejection. Okay, so indices traders, get ready for a sell-off. Okay, with that said, let's move on to the cryptocurrencies. Cryptos. Okay, let's start with Bitcoin because we want to establish something first. So Bitcoin, it did not continue going down to that weekly level. So at this point, maybe weekly accumulation is taking place and it's not going to expand. Okay, we might stay in that type of environment for this week. Just be careful buying, because in the phase of accumulation there might be a lot of run-on stops, and then eventually the time frame that the accumulation is taking place will move, which in this case I think it's the weekly time frame. Okay, so please just bear with price, don't be in a hurry. If you get in before it actually starts moving, you might be buying too high. All right, I think it might drop into that weekly fair value gap. Okay, it might drop into that weekly fair value gap, and that is where the accumulation might take place, or they are gonna buy more and then expand higher. So don't fall for these things. Watch here. And with that said, that will translate to all the cryptos. They are not ready to go up yet. So again, go to the weekly time frame and then highlight the gap that you see. I know this one is huge, but it's just we need the low. Okay, the low of it, which comes in at 232.39. Okay, that's the level that we are interested in. Hype, that also comes in at 23.29. XRP, I think XRP is an OTE, so I think here, this area, so 2.2283, that area, and then we look for a move back up here. The tool, we are still resting in that fair value gap, so nothing really has changed. But if we see Bitcoin dropping, this might also drop into it, and then we'll see what's gonna happen. Chachki, same thing. It's either we come back one more time or we go and break this high, which in my opinion, it doesn't need to really come back down again. If it does, it'll be a good thing, but it doesn't need to, because we've already run this low. If it comes back one more time, like I illustrated yesterday, that would be a high resistance, so a low, and another low, which classically is called the 3 Indian drive. So if we do get a move back down, anticipate a quick rejection, and then we go back up again. Solana, let's go to the weekly. I think Solana is already in there, so Solana is ahead, and so far it's not giving any major reaction yet, just a small little blip. But let me highlight a specific area to watch. Below the 50%, there is this gap here. That one, watch that. So between 158.53 to 155.44, in there, watch that, because that's where I think they might trade to if the Bitcoin trades into that fair value gap on the weekly. So if Bitcoin goes lower, then you might have Solana also trade into these levels that I've just mentioned, and then they might potentially reject one more time. So again, please don't chase whatever is happening now. Be patient with it. Let them drop a little bit more, and then you can look for a buy. Now, another question will be, can I sell short? Yes. In this case, I prefer selling. Okay, I wouldn't prefer long. I prefer selling, because longs are risky right now. Okay, longs are risky right now, so I would prefer you selling rather than buying. Okay, and then finally, AI16Z, same thing. I think I mentioned they can come all the way down here and still go up. For now, maybe previous week low, it's likely gonna be taking this low here. this low and that low, it's likely gonna be taken, and then we will see what it will do after that. So the 0.2613 and then 0.2405 level. Okay, so that's that for the AI16Z. Okay, pretty much waiting game. I think we had a nice big move up, but now we've gone into potential reaccumulation phase, and reaccumulation phase, everybody needs patience. Okay, before I go, let me bring dollar CAD to your attention. I think dollar CAD is forming the high of the month here. Since we started, 1st May was here, and we've been going around. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, you shorted, or I shorted. I know some of you did as well. Shorted up here, went down. Was expecting a continuation, but we had to face this nice area of resistance, and we went back up again to take out this high. Now we rejected yesterday. There was a nice level formed in London. I'm sorry, not London, pre-New York session, and that's where we've rejected and we've dropped aggressively. Now if we lose this low, which that is what I'm anticipating, if we lose that low, we'll be heading straight for the previous month low, which will be over here. Okay, we'll be heading for the previous month low, which is over there. So lots of room to the downside once we lose the low that I've highlighted, which is here. So watch dollar CAD, because from this low all the way down, there's a lot of room to go. Even if this one, a lot of room. Okay, so there you go. Nice one waiting. Now how will you know they're gonna break this candle's low? How will you know? You know as soon as price closes below this candle's high. So watch that candle's high, which comes in at 1.5632. 1.5632. If they can close through that, this low is going to be taken. Now as soon as that happens, this candle here is likely going to be a fair value gap. Okay, so this candle needs to close and it will create a fair value gap there. That will be your entry. You don't have to wait for them to close below this. Once we close below that, it's likely gonna leave a fair value gap here. Then you can use that as your entry. I don't know where this candle's high is gonna fall, but let's say here, and then that would be your trade. You'll be looking for all the way down here, and you take partials along the way. But within the move, you can also look for trade ideas every single day or every single week to continue going there, but not now. They need to close below this candle's high, and that's the gateway for the continuation to the downside. All right, that's it from me. Like I said, I apologize for today. I went to get some groceries and I got caught in traffic. So tomorrow I'll make sure I'll be here right on time. Until then, have a wonderful day and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.